What is going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Man, it has been so long since I have updated you guys on what is going on with the Maple Leafs, but you guys already know, and we already know that the playoffs are upon us. And again, I'm very sorry if I look a little off. Your boy is sick again. Like, I'm about to go on vacation and I'm sick again, but I'm here to make this video about the Leafs and the Bruins in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in 2024. So if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. These lights also aren't working, so if you're wondering why those lights aren't on, it's because I think they're broken, which is fantastic. Just fantastic. But we got to talk about this. We meet the Bruins once again in the playoffs, and it seems like this is just inevitable. Every year, there's going to be a meeting between the Leafs and the Bruins that really means something. The Bruins, Leafs, the Leafs and the Lightning, the Leafs and the Panthers. It's like there's no new matchups ever. There's no new Stanley Cup meetings in the first round. It's always these three teams that we always meet up against, and the Bruins are the demon that the Leafs need to slay. And we say this all the time, but this is the first year in a while where I'm like on the fence of like if I believe or not that the Leafs can win this series, because they're going into this series on a bit of a losing streak. I think it's 4 or 5 games now. And the Bruins are always good. I always tell people, you could pick up a guy from across the street that lives in your apartment building, the plumber from your local high school or college, and put him on the first line of the Bruins, and they'll score 40 goals, because the Bruins just find anybody and anyone, and they become superstars. They become role players. They're all tough guys. They all can fight. Like, it really doesn't matter. The Bruins find ways to win, and that's where the Leafs need to match them. The Leafs need to find ways to win and not fall into the Bruins trap. But let's look at some numbers first. We're here on Sportsnet. Apparently they think it's a foul because I'm using an ad blocker, but yeah, then stop posting so many ads. But anyways, the Maple Leafs are 46, 26, and 10 in the regular season. The Bruins 47, 20, and 15. So the Bruins getting some overtime points there for sure. The Leafs having some more regulation losses. Now they're saying the probable matchup will be Ilya Samsonov versus Jeremy Swayman. Now Swayman has been really, really good this year. Samsonov turned it up at the end of the season, but he had a really, really rough start to the year. And Swayman has actually been incredible against the Leafs. And I hate to say that because, I mean, they literally have unreal goaltending with Ullmark and Swayman, but Swayman has dominated the Leafs in games previous. I think he's like 3-0 or 3-1-0 with like under 2 goals per game allowed, like just crazy numbers. But what I want to look at here is also the special teams, right? So goals per game, the Leafs are scoring a little bit more, but again, it's pretty much the same. Goals against per game, Boston is below us there as well, so they're definitely allowing less. Power play percentage is right around the same. The penalty kill percentage is a little bit in favor of the Bruins. So the Bruins have a little bit of a special teams advantage, in my opinion. And then if you look at our previous matchup history, the Bruins have beat us in the last 4 appearances. They swept us in the regular season, and a few of those games, the Leafs looked like they didn't show up. So there's some concern there, to be completely fair with you. The regular season, of course, doesn't really dictate anything. It doesn't really mean anything. But when you're matched up against a team and they beat you 4 straight times, it doesn't really look good, right? You're not very happy about that. So the Maple Leafs have to be aware that the Bruins are going to play physical. They're going to play that Boston Bruins style game. And I know the Leafs have a much more physical team now, but they have to be aware that the Bruins will pull you into their game and cost you. And I'll get to that very soon. But what I also want to look at is the lines. And there's a couple things here that concern me. Now, Bertuzzi, Matthews, Domi, that's going to be an excellent first line. They've been playing unreal. Domi's been a real good story this year. Yarncrook coming back after being out for so long on the second line with Tavares and Marner makes no sense to me. I think that William Nylander needs to start on that second line. I know they're trying to stretch these guys out, But McMahon has also been out for a while playing with Holmberg and Nylander. I don't know how that complements Nylander at all. I think that he needs to be on that second line. And I also think Nick Robertson deserves a chance to play. He's been scoring a lot. And again, I just don't see how you're going to just insert two guys who have been injured for a long time over a guy that's been on a hot streak. And then Matthew Knies, Kampf, and Reeves. Again, that's an okay fourth line. Knies might get some space playing against fourth line guys. But Knies has also been a little bit disappointing in my eyes. I like him. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's really stepped up in the way that I think a lot of people thought he was going to. And that's why I really would like to see Robertson play instead of one of Yarncrook or McMahon. And I know I'm going to get some hate for that, but I genuinely think that Robertson has played his way into this lineup. Now, the blue line is where it's going to be very, very eye-opening in probably the first game. So Riley and Lyubushkin, I like Lyubushkin, but at the same time, I really wish the Leafs went out there and got a solidified number 2 guy. Benoit and McCabe, I actually really like that pairing. They're physical. Edmondson getting, a chance to play in the playoffs with us this time and not against us. He's overly physical, playing with Liljegren, and then Samsonov and Woll, and I think they're definitely going to go with Samsonov in game 1. But that blue line is a lot more physical than we've had in years previous. They're big, they're mean, and this is where early in game 1 we need to see them set the tone. And I went on a bit of a rant on Twitter the other day talking about how the Leafs were big and tough for nothing, and I still believe that, because in games where they're getting shelled and in games where they need to light somebody up, as they would say, they don't show up. So like Lyubushkin, Benoit, McCabe, Edmondson, all these guys that are tough on that back end, if they're just kind of pushing guys off and after the whistle, they're not really doing much. Like, I need to see more of that. And in the playoffs, they need to set the tone early. If you take a couple penalties in game 1, you have to run that risk, because the Leafs need to show Boston, like, look, before you've been able to push us around and we've been able to just stick around because of our talent, but now we have guys that will literally take your head off. And they need, like, people think I'm saying this to just be silly and stupid, but literally the first face-off, I would put Edmondson and Benoit on the blue line. I would put Bertuzzi, Domi, and Reeves. I don't care how dumb it is. I would put them all out there in the first face-off, and I would say run these guys right through the glass on the first shift. Like, obliterate whoever is on the ice in the first shift. Set the tone. The Leafs have never played like this before. You don't need to do this every single game, but the Leafs need to be like, look, if you're going to come into the corner, I'm going to send you into the 4th row. But the Leafs never do that. They just allow you to just come right in and set up shop right wherever you want to. No, the Leafs need to set the tone, obliterate them right off the first draw. I don't care what you do, slash the back of their ankles, whatever you got to do. It's playoff hockey, right? So all of this should just be allowed, because we've seen this in years previous, and the Bruins have done it before. But I'm not saying go out there and take penalties, but throw clean hits, but hurt them. You need to hurt these guys. Like, and again, not hurt as if like injure them for 10 games. I'm saying make them feel that every time they go back to the bench, and every time that they hear the skates coming behind them, that they tense up a little bit, because that's what's happened to the Leafs. Every year they hear footsteps from Chara, from Krejci, from Bergeron, from Marchand, from Pastrnak. It doesn't matter who it is. All of them are physical. Carlo in years previous, right? DeBrusque. They hit people. The Leafs have never done that. So now they've got guys that can throw hits and be nasty. They need to do that. They need to. And this series will be short if they don't. And I'm not talking about the Leafs winning. It's going to be very short if they don't find a way to match the physicality. But at the same time, they can't fall into the games that Boston plays. Because Boston plays a very great game where they go, oh yeah, come and play with us. But then we're gonna take a few dives, and we're gonna complain to the referees, and we're gonna get some extra calls. Because the Bruins have solidified themselves as a playoff team, as a playoff monster. They know how to play the game, and I respect it. I really do. They found a way to lure you in and to chop you right back down. Like, what are you supposed to do? Hate them for that? They've perfected it. They've mastered it. So at the same time, I want the Leafs to be physical. I don't want them to fall into a trap. So they're going to be physical, but don't fall into that trap. So I'm expecting this to be a fun series. The Leafs are a different team in terms of physicality. Usually every year I can predict the series and be fully confident with it, but I'm just going to say Leafs in 7 because I'm a Leaf fan and I want them to win. But this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be very tough. And I said it to a guy at work yesterday. If the Leafs don't win this series, they're cleaning house. They have to. They're going to fire Keefe. They're going to fire the whole coaching staff. And I'm not necessarily blaming it on Keefe at all, but they're going to clean house. They're going to trade somebody of significance. It's going to be bad. And they're going to have to, because this team needs a little bit of a wake-up call, because he just can't keep getting bounced. I know they won a round last year, but that doesn't give you a pass for 5 seasons. You need to start winning hockey games. So let me know what you guys think. If you're new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. Thank you so much for being here for this video. Go Leafs, go. Leafs in 7. Leave your predictions down below. I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.